pilot. We'll wait for your confirmation of thrust before releasing the vehicle.
Roger. Pilot has control.
Pull the pin. Lift line free, pilot. Let's lock in auto head, inverse the ship. Push center line.
Roger. Auto heading engaged. Lateraling over and pushing forward.
Good copy, pilot.
Looking a little heavy as expected. Off stick.
Alright, pilot off stick, just auto heading engaged. We'll bring you center line.
Copy.
Dive suit bridge.
Go ahead, bridge.
Hey, just want to give you an update. Looks like there's a sizable log that will pass off our starboard side about 100 feet. It shouldn't be any concern, but I just want to give you a heads up there if you see it.
Copy that, thank you. Alright, Dick, let's go ahead and launch Sirius. Pilot, please provide some halfway, reduce the tension in the tether.
Copy.
Looking good, pilot, let's maintain.
Copy. I'm off stick at the moment.
Copy, pilot. Should be able to remain off stick, pilot.
Okay. Pushing ahead a little bit.
Copy that.
Off stick.
Copy.
Turns are 0.
Copy that. Winch, 0 reps.
Winch is at 0.
Okay, pilot, you ready to descend?
Ready.
Let's go ahead and descend down to 50 meters, 15 meters per minute, calling out every 10. Winch will do the same.
Roger, pushing down.
Descending. One 0 meters, wire out.
D21616.
Two 0 meters, wire out.
RLV 25.
Three 0 meters, wire out.
D233.
Dive soup nav, be advised, good tracking both vehicles.
Good copy now, thank you. Four 0 meters, wire out.
D244.
Sirius, SCS.
Five 0 meters, wire out.
D2 auto depth 54.
Copy, pilot. Winch, dive super.
Dive super winch.
Could pass control to the control room, please.
Control passed.
Co-pilot confirms winch control.
Copy that, co-pilot. Nav, dive super.
Go ahead, dive soup.
Would you recommend an easy stop?
I would.
Okay, will do. Nav, dive super.
Good.
We are coming to an easy stop now. Just keep an eye on streaming as we do so.
Good copy.
dive super.
Go ahead.
You're free to continue with the dive if control room is ready.
Understood. Thank you.
Also, be advised, waypoint 1 is arbitrary. We're just trying to get to the slope, so as
Okay.
you see fit.
We'll just stop here then and go down, I think.
Copy that.
All right, proceeding.
I'm good. I'm ready.
All right. Well, hello, everybody. We had to abort this morning. We've moved about 35 kilometers across to the western side of Prince William Sound, and we have reacquired the bottom at a depth of about 394 meters. We're near Storey Island, sitting on a soft, smooth-looking bottom, and getting set up, and it looks like we'll be able to make a little bit of a traverse.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yes, let's do a Niskin.
Sure. Sounds like a great idea, thanks. I'm guessing a snail, but it's really hard to tell. There's lots of debris.
That Niskin sample ID is EX2306-D17-01W. Niskin bottle 1, 394 meters depth, and yes, no, we are now on dive D17.
Oh, good to know. Right. There we go. Okay, so quite a few of these shrimp with kind of the candy cane striped legs. These are a good size, maybe another species below it or just a smaller individual.
He's got really long antennas.
Yes. So we kind of skipped our little blurbs on the way down, but this this whole dive is kind of a blank spot on the map for me from what I could find as far as the benthic biology, so the animals that are associated with the sea floor. I could find very little data on anything that might be growing or living here. So this is a real exploratory one. I think nearby, but shallower, I had one sea pen record, and this does look like you know, the kinds of soft sediment that sea pens like to live in. No, I think we're seeing some maybe plant material. Oh, that right there? Well, could take a look. And we do expect to come up to a bit of a bump, maybe a rocky outcrop. Hard to say. It does look like it to me, yes. Oh, what about that fish that's to the bottom there? Just a bit different than the others.
That's
Oh, maybe, let's see. Could be a poacher of some kind. Yep, sounds good. Oh, wow. It's really trucking. Thanks.
wow. I didn't know they could go that fast.
Yeah, that's pretty fast for a sea star. It's also neat to see the trail that it makes. You can kind of look at some of the markings and figure out what kind of animal passed by. Ooh, there's a nice big fish. That looks like oh, uh-oh. Well, now that I'm closer, I'm not sure. Looks a little bit like a sablefish, but
Yeah, I was going to say he didn't look too different once he put his dorsal fin up.
yeah.
And you
But
can see
again,
what
really
very turbulent, especially when we touch the bottom.
yeah, the sediment here is so fine and kind of delicate that it's just ready to kick up a big dust cloud anytime we get close. Oh, a little squid. Beautiful. Wow, it's just like completely transparent. Amazing. Maybe if, oh, that's an interesting looking, or kind of one of those small silvery fish we're seeing from a different angle. I know when we were in the Alexander Archipelago region, we were seeing Eulachon, I think, were the fish that were kind of small, smelt-like fish. Couldn't tell you if these are the same here, but what we're doing is recording all of this video, and we'll be able to review it with experts later to get identifications and counts on the things that we're seeing today. Ooh. Hard to tell. Some very cool patterning on the carapace, or on the abdomen of this shrimp. Wow. So definitely different. I've been on the search for a Lebius shrimp, and one of the characteristic features is the size of the rostrum, that long, pointed and kind of serrated part that comes out from between the shrimp's eyes. And that one has a really long one in comparison. Oh, another large fish coming up.
Here's a big guy.
Yeah. Sure, sure. Yeah. Watch lead here.
I'm not sure we can get that far, but right about 390 is where it starts to get a little steeper. So right. So let's get to that and see how it looks. It might not be a lot different from this, but Oh, there he is.
Ooh, that was a nudibranch.
Oh, right.
Oh, whoa.
Wow.
And a squid, okay. Swim around. What I could glimpse and see a little bit of here looks like one of the nudibranchs that we've been seeing that kind of has these rows of frills along the back. A little bit different maybe from the Tritonia. Yeah, let's make some moves, I think, rather than wait for the dust to settle. Yeah, I think we caught it in a clear view before. We can always review the video. Thanks. Well, if it's cool. Ooh.
That was cool. I don't know what it was.
That was a flatfish of some kind. That nudibranch was cool, but wow, what's that making tracks along the bottom there? Oh, it is a cute. Quite a few squid now. That's maybe at least the third or fourth, I think. Yeah. Sounds good. I think that there was a shrimp that had a fish. Another little squid. So that flat fish that swam through could have been a halibut. There are halibut recorded in this area. Oh, wow. So if you look in our stream number 2, we have a view, kind of pretty murky view from Sirius of D2 below. It looks like there are little small fish kind of hanging around and maybe following along the port side now of D2.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Big group of them.
Oh yeah, let's take a quick look. if we could snap on it or... Wow, it's a big one. And I see Chris Ma's just joined the room. You must be, yours must have been burning. I think we might have seen something, you know, pretty covered in sediment, but here, this is a really large sea star. This one's, oh, okay. Oh, this one's really not moving much. Kind of sediment covered, and it looks perfectly content staying that way. It's excellent zoom. You can see all the little details in this upper dermal layer of the sea star. And we have an ID of Jeffreyaster swifty. Interesting that they're buried up here, but out in the open in the deeper depths. I think there's also quite a bit more material to get buried by in this area. We've been wrestling with the turbidity in this area.
And these sediments, I imagine, are even finer than normal with all the glaciers up the sounds, producing a lot of glacial flour that's washing out into the open ocean. And right through here, we're kind of out in the, just astride the main channel of Prince William Sound on the west side.
So that could be like the glaciers sort of grinding away.
Yes.
Releasing like all of the very fine.
Yeah, the really fines. It really grinds rocks down to what they refer to as a glacial flour, and it's what gives the water, when you're in the immediate vicinity of a glacier, that really beautiful kind of emerald, milky emerald color. That's just fantastic to see. But it's got to go somewhere, and this is where it's winding up on the way out to sea.
So it wasn't just me. I thought the water looked a little bit greener when we started the descent.
Oh, I didn't think it had a very different color once we got, once we got in here, even from topside.
Oh, okay.
Looking at the ocean this
that's
morning.
Interesting, this discoloration here. Huh.
Yeah, we passed a couple of those. I don't know what that means. Somebody moved around.
It doesn't look very disturbed other than the color difference. It's interesting.
Maybe a flatfish or something just got up and swam away.
I was about to chalk it up to a geological process, so.
Well, it could be, but none that I'm aware of.
Ah. So we're seeing something interesting on the sonar. It's catching our attention, the hard return in this area.
Yeah, there's something in front of us now. Still about 20 meters out, so it'll be a little bit before we get there, but there's... Is that one we've seen before?
Well,
it's hard to tell.
Really
He's
hard to
trying
tell, especially
make himself unseen.
Very cool. So sort of burrowing in the sediment, possibly trying to hide, possibly trying to access the certain kind of food. It does look like this one's after something. And not immediately, you know, a species that's jumping out from my lists. Let me see. Oh, that's great. I did just get a confirmation of sablefish on our ID from earlier from Chris Rupert, but not in the science chat, on my internal fisheries and oceans messaging. Thanks for that, Chris.
ROV, could we get the lasers? Oh, are they?
What is that? Huh.
There they are. There they are.
Huh. Could we zoom on that? This is like a really large sea pen, actually. Okay. Sure, thanks. Yeah, I think it's, so there's a really large species of sea pen known from around here, Balticina. I think it's Willimoesi. And it's the only one that I know that gets to be this big. This one has got to be, yeah, way over 1 meter in length, and has these really distinct rows of polyps. And I think you can see them right there. Oh, wow. Sure. Oh. Okay. No, that's not in the cards, and that's all right. Getting a really good view of this sea pen. I think it's very cool to see in situ. So these really dense kind of rows of polyps along one side. You know, looks like Balticina Willimoesi to me. But we'll definitely use this video and compare it to some of our guides. There's a couple of features, like some larger spikes at the base that I was expecting to see. So worthwhile to double check, but definitely a sea pen, octocoral. You can see the 8 tentacles with little pinnules coming off of them, filter feeding. I'd be interested to know what those little really bright yellow dots are. It's not a feature that I've noticed on these before. And I've never seen one. This species doesn't seem to be super abundant farther south off of BC where my study sites are, so this is very cool. That's a great zoom, thanks for that.
Do you want to go up or down on this, or is this a good view?
No, this is great.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it's starting to get a little bit dusty in here, so we'll see. But yeah, I mean, the more that we can document of this is also useful. Ooh, okay. I really appreciate this mood lighting for for the Balticina, formerly Helipteris. And yeah, as far as I know, it's the only species in this group that gets this big. This one, I don't know. We had the lasers nearby. We can do a detailed calculation of the length of this thing. Yeah, so again, this is oh wow, with the squid just right, swimming right beside it. Just beautiful. So I think I was saying, but sea pens are corals. They're related. They're in the same group as the other octocorals. So some of the larger, tree-shaped corals that we've been seeing, they have this 8-rayed or 8-tentacled polyp in common. But instead of making a complex kind of branched structure, this group, the Peninsulaceae, make usually one really long, kind of harder axis that the coral grows off of. So you have one really long axis in this case, and a modified end at the bottom where it will kind of settle into soft sediment and anchor there. And so we have these rows of polyps, the same as you see on corals, each with their 8 tentacles and little pinnules coming off of them, and they'll stick out into the water column, kind of feeding, bringing the tentacles in towards the mouth, and feeding on little particles from the water column. In some places they can get very dense. We call them, fields of sea pens, and they can actually create really unique habitats. Anything around in an area like this that can provide a little bit of extra complexity, or in some cases a leg up into the water column off of the sea floor, creates habitat for other animals. So we often see things like brittle stars or different kinds of plankton and crustaceans associated with sea pens. Oh wow. This one's huge. It reminds me of a Velcro star, but it's really big. Ooh, yeah, would definitely be worth a zoom if we can.
Gastropods, perhaps, or?
They almost look like tiny anemones.
Okay.
There are definitely some larger, either bivalves or brachiopods.
So nice we finally got to our first outcrop of the day.
Mm-hmm. What do you see?
Rocks. Well, this location, as the one we were looking to dive on this morning, is relatively close to shore-based mapping that mapped those rocks on land as a succession of sandstone, siltstone, and mudstones, probably representing a submarine fan environment of early tertiary age, or something like about 60 to 40 million years old or so, known as the Orca group. And I was happy to see that the rocks over on this side of Prince William Sound were not referred to as a monotonous succession as the rocks on the other side were. But so we're looking, I guess, at a more interesting set of exposures over here. But this particular outcrop could pass for sandstone. It's again, it's always hard to tell underwater with mud and encrusting biology.
Yeah, and those little dots that we were seeing are definitely anemones of some kind. My guess is that they're zoanthids, so smaller colonial anemones. They'll all be connected by a common, encrusting piece of tissue, just because of the size, but I, of course, can't see whether they're attached or not. But my assumption is that they are, and these look like zoanthids to me. And
yeah, it looks like they're attaching to rock where they can get to it, where the sediment cover is not too thick, and there's a pretty abrupt line where they kind of cease.
So we have an ID on that sea star, Stylasterius foreri, the Velcro star, aka the fish catching star.
Oh, that'd be great to see.
Ooh, I'd love to hear more about that. And Chris Ma, the Smithsonian Institute, has also given us an ID on those shells. They are brachiopods in the genus Laqueus. Oh, and also Hugh McIntosh from the Royal BC Museum joining us. Thanks for coming out, Hugh. I again missed the flatfish, but possibly halibut. So if Chris Ma is available to let us know a little bit more about that fish catching star, I definitely like to know more. Oh, okay. Wow. Oh, wow. So it's hard to say. I always identify these fish based on the other side. So the side when they're lying flat, that's normally up. But I think we just saw every side besides that one. But I think halibut is a good guess based on what we saw and what we know from catches in the area. All right, thanks to Chris Rupert from Fisheries and Oceans Canada, agrees that that was a halibut.
It just went by. Oh, that was a replay. Sorry.
Wow, yeah, more brachiopods. Keeping an eye out for a cup coral. There was a cup coral sighting from shallower than this, not quite this area, from the 1970s. So it could be here, anywhere there's rock. And these are very interesting anemones. They're really long necks. Oh, it does look different to me. Thanks for that. Really nice view of all of these different anemones. The kind of could be in tubes, so possibly some cereanthids. And no, the rest of them just look like anemones with really long necks, so probably a zoanthid anemone. And if we can get this sea star.
Here we go.
So it looks a little bit more like a pterosterid to me. So there's pteroster and hymenaster, aka the slime stars. And so I know that when provoked, they can, I think they're filled with water, and when provoked, they can kind of open up that valve in the top that we just saw, and emit copious amounts of slime as a defense mechanism.
Oh
And
my.
a pretty effective one.
I hope we're not about to get slimed.
Out of all the things, I think as long as we don't touch it, we should be fine. I read an excellent article on Chris Ma's blog all about the slime, suggesting that we collect one and find out.
Let's not say we did.
I think that from what I remember, like the slime will basically fill the bio box. Yeah. And he's written in with some info on that really large Velcro star, aka the fish catching star that we saw earlier. The pedicellariae on those Stylasterius are fairly large with jagged valves, similar in type to the ones on Brisinghids. There's a paper from the early 80s that documented Stylasterius as capturing small fish, which landed too close on the surface. Unsure how common this is.
Well, we've got a fair amount of, looks like, hard rock ahead of us on the sonar. But it looks like it's going to be very thinly mantled with mud. So, yeah, not rocky ahead, but soft. Looks like something on the sonar. Just the way it's pointed, perhaps.
Little, really small ctenophores, I think, in the water column. Those two long tails, possibly a sidipid ctenophore. So I've also had confirmation from Chris that these small little silvery smelt-like fishes or smelts are almost certainly Eulachon, and thanks to Jennifer Bolt also for the ID. It's another one of those large flatfish, but they seem to be kind of generally avoiding us, which I think we've decided our halibut. You can just see the tail of it on the right. Oh, excellent. Whoa. Oh, something's coming up in the sonar though.
Still a little ways out, but we're making good progress.
Yeah.
Now about 40 meters out.
Okay, I just saw there's a little Keatingnath or arrowworm that was just flickering, and another squid, I think, just out of view. All these little smelts, there's lots in the water column. Can we look at that pink thing on the bottom? It's okay
Just
if we
about to
missed
go
it.
over. Oh,
Yes. Oh, a big worm of some kind, maybe. Whoa. Okay, definitely a worm. Wondering if Arvind is tuning in, if he has any suggestions. He's our worm guy on board. Very cool.
is he burrowed into the mud on the right side?
I can't tell, or is that
know.
is it like this just a part of the body and that we're seeing is mostly, the rest is buried, or is that kind of the
Yeah.
head end? a large Nimertian, thanks to Hugh.
Yeah, no, I think that is his head, yeah. It just kind of moved a little bit.
Wow. So Nimertians, also known as ribbon worms. We've encountered oh, interesting too. There's something attached to the top, a little ctenophore, I think, because of I can see the little comb lighting up. Oh, beautiful.
Oh my goodness. Oh.
Wow. Yeah, you can just see a little bit of the iridescence on that, the comb, I think is what we're looking at. And it's very small because this Nimertian is dwarfing it in size, so it's, you know, almost something that you'd use a microscope to look at. The zoom on this camera is just amazing. Ooh, and you can see this kind of shield of slime that the worm is kind of moving through. That's amazing. Possibly this ctenophore is stuck on the slime. Definitely, you know, lots of sediment stuck on it as well. Whoa, beautiful. Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, a real live sandworm. Whoa, excellent. Thanks for that excellent zoom on a worm plus some extras. RV, could we get the lasers on at your convenience? Thank you. So I do see some kind of feature approaching in the sonar. We'll see what's ahead. Couple of very sedimented sea stars. Maybe even that one.
Boy, the halibut are really giving us a lot of space.
Yeah.
They're getting right out of the way.
Yeah, or right in the way, depending on how
well,
close
that's true.
you get.
They do
yeah.
come at us, but they're not sitting still when we get close.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, there it is again.
Then he settled down.
Mhm.
But there he goes.
Yep. The elusive halibut.
Thank you, Nav.
Thank you. Just shaking off a little bit of this dust.
Yeah, I believe they do. I think, yeah, we're looking at what they call the glacial flour, which is really just finely ground rock, silt, or clay-sized. And it's pretty abundant in here, where there are a number of tidewater glaciers up some of these canyons and other streams that are coming off the fronts of glaciers and feeding right into the sound here. So it's all coming down multiple arms of Prince William Sound, and we're now just off the main, kind of the main channel of Prince William Sound as everything is heading out to sea. Mostly through here. There are some other ways out, but
Could we zoom on some of these little bumps? I think they might be heart urchins. Ooh, great. I think there's kind of a living one and maybe one that's not so much just behind it. Maybe. I think Chris Ma pointed these out earlier, but now we've got a good look at them. That might be a sponge.
Brisaster, says Chris.
Oh, Brisaster, okay. That's great. Thanks for that zoom.
And there's our hard target.
Yeah, so Brisaster, a heart urchin, and a test. Ooh. Wow. Is it ever wild looking? Yeah. I'd say these are probably more zoanthid anemones. Cool. Huh. Oh, wow. It's huge. A really big anemone coming into view. And unfortunately, even though it's a really steep wall, it's still covered in
It is.
sediment.
It is. You can see, though, we're looking at probably thick single sandstone beds that are, I'm guessing, maybe a half a meter to a meter in thickness. But everything seems to be very nicely colonizing it, even though it's covered in this thin mantle. It makes me think that perhaps this gets swept clean seasonally, or I don't know.
Wow, yeah, I'm seeing more of those brachiopods, brittle stars, really large anemone, some kind of a gastropod, maybe like the one of the snails that we collected earlier in the survey.
We have a request to collect a zoanthid.
Oh. I have no need for the anemone zoom if you're comfortable working on a sample request. Yeah, it's hard to tell much about the anemone when it's all balled up like that. So we're looking at zoanthids, any of these little tiny anemones that are kind of dotting the rock. We're interested in a sample. I know there were some bigger ones farther down. They're all kind of adhered to the rock underneath, so I think suction and maybe kind of scraping them off should get a few. So actually the request is specifically for the smaller ones. Yes, yes, always. Those are brachiopods, actually. There we go. There's some, yeah. Mm-hmm. I saw quite a few in the jar. Yeah.
I think we actually did get kind of a good look at the rock face as well once. There's just a very thin layer of dust on it, and it's about the same color.
Mm-hmm. So I'd actually recommend maybe some of the smaller ones. So maybe just outside of this clump of larger.
There's some smaller ones in it too,
Oh,
it looks
great.
like. So to the right.
Yeah, I think we'd like the full size range and maybe this big brachiopod. Thanks. Whoop. There it is, brachiopod in the jar. Keeping an eye. Okay, I think that's fine.
Yeah, it looks to me like you got some.
Yeah. Yep. I think we got some bonus shrimp in that jar as well.
Can you see them swimming around?
Well, I thought I did.
All right. Do you want to get a Niskin here or wait a few minutes when we'll be headed up?
Yeah, actually, ROV, could we get a Niskin whenever you're ready? Yes.
That was EX2306-D17-02B in the canister 1. Thank you. Could you sweep it off for me too?
Is there a reverse on the suction sampler? Oh, yeah. I think it would cause us more problems than it solves.
All right. Niskin ID EX2306-D17-03W.
Oh, there's that benthic jelly, the Ticogastria, possibly Ticogastria polaris. Actually, a really nice view of these bivalves, some, brachiopods. And there's a cup coral there too. So to the lower right, there's a couple of them. You can see there are sort of those lines on the outside of the cup.
And boy, the diversity really goes up when there's just a tiny bit of overhang.
Yeah, no
and
kidding.
They have a permanently clean rock face.
Ooh, some other interesting little zooids. Oh, cool. These jellies, every now and then when you zoom in on a rock, you can't really see them from far away, but yeah, that's awesome. So I've never seen one of these before this year, and now we've seen quite a few on and off on this trip. Every now and then, just kind of hanging out alone on a rock. There's just so many different things on this rock. I think these kind of bushy things are often hydroids. Hard to tell, they're pretty sedimented. Brachiopods, little crustaceans, shrimp crawling around. Yeah, just a ton to look at. And then over here, I think, yeah, we're getting into a couple of cup corals and maybe a different kind from the ones that we've been seeing earlier on in earlier dives. It's kind of a really elongated one, so definitely a different profile. But yeah, you can see those little, divisions called setae in the hard kind of calcium carbonate skeleton of these cup corals, and instead of having multiple polyps, they just generally have one really big one. Those are the tentacles. So they're in a different group from the octocorals we were looking at. They have quite a number of tentacles in this one. And then the mouth will kind of be in the center of them, like an anemone, kind of like an anemone that makes a hard skeleton.
Almost to look at the rock, you can at least see a little bit of semi-horizontal or banding here, maybe. But probably some very fine-grained siltstone to mudstone, slightly metamorphosed and probably quite hard.
Ooh, another good view of that cup coral. Oh, and another one of those jellies. Wow. This is a really amazing zoom, just taking a moment to really look at what's on this rock. We've seen, I don't know how many different phyla that is.
That's really amazing, seeing the little internal structures of those jellies.
Yeah, really beautiful. No, that's great.
Yeah.
No, not at this time. Let's keep on moving if we can. Is there something underneath of that anemone I can't quite make out?
Yeah, maybe a sea cucumber? Is that what that is?
I really can't tell. Unless it's an octopus squished in there.
Might
I
be.
think it might be. Whoa. Okay, first of all, that's a giant anemone.
Nice.
And I don't have any information on the identification of the anemone, but it looks like this is a giant Pacific octopus that's wedged really tightly into these the crevices between these rocks.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. It's also so still. I wonder if it's just kind of being very quiet and chilling out, or possibly sleeping. Oh, beautiful. Looks like the eyes are closed to me. Yeah, it must be. Wow, the texture on the mantle, all these different kinds of folds and spikes. Really amazing. Okay, now it's moving. Wow. Just kind of retreating farther down into the hole in between these rocks. Wow, really beautiful. I think we can see a bit of the siphon there. Maybe. Yeah. We're probably pretty bright for what this one is used to, so maybe we're best if they keep their eyes closed. Look at just yeah, the texture and the skin around the eye. Obviously we know that octopus are kind of really amazing at camouflage. Kind of, sometimes mimicking textures. Don't know as much about the giant Pacific octopus in particular. And I know there are a couple of other species, but feel free if anyone's tuning in on the science chat to correct me if I'm wrong. Wow. Oh, there's the siphon. Shoop. Also some activity with the shrimp and brachiopod up in front, and another one of those Ticogastria jellies. Yeah, as soon as there's a little bit of rock in this area, it seems to be just like exposed rock. It seems to be covered with life. A very cool coloring, definitely a different kind of shrimp than what we've been seeing with the the candy stripe legs. And encrusting bryozoans, that white kind of
Okay.
patterned encrusting on that brachiopod. These are bryozoa. And I think, okay, sounds good. I think a few encrusting sponges around here as well. That anemone also makes that octopus look small, so that is a giant anemone.
Do we have are the lasers on?
don't-
It's been so murky. I've had a hard time picking them up. I still can't see them. There they are.
There they are. Yeah, I think when they're right on the anemone, they're really hard to see.
Yeah.
I think there's another one of those
So, yeah,
giant,
so
really big nimmertians in the backgrounds too.
He's close to a foot across.
Wow, yeah, that's a big anemone.
Good 30 centimeters across, looks like. Okay.
Wow, yeah. Where's the other one? Oh, there we go.
Okay, 20 centimeters maybe at the top.
I'm also seeing lots of some brittle star legs and more of those cup corals. And yeah, I think I see a long nimmertian in the background as
Okay,
well, close, similar to the one that we zoomed in on
Yep,
earlier.
just on the left, yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Something else. I'm seeing little tiny crustaceans, little bright yellow ones swimming around in there. Little copepods, I think. So it must be, I would assume, some kind of symbiotic relationship, since they don't seem to be bothered by the anemone, and looks like they're maybe just kind of cleaning and eating bits of food that get attached to the tentacles. Sorry, amphipods, thanks for that, Hugh. Wow, the level of detail on this is fantastic. It's easy to forget that these are individual tentacles of an anemone. Looks like a little forest. The marine snow whizzing by. Of course, we've been dealing with a lot of turbidity or particles in the water on this dive.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And again, somehow looks small compared to this anemone. That's
Yeah. But I
pretty
feel like he
wild.
is kind of small. When we had the
Mhm.
lasers, he was, yeah, like 10 centimeters.
But also, they're really kind of squished in there, so it's hard to get
Yeah, probably
a good estimate of the overall size.
with the tentacles, yeah, especially.
Really big brittle stars as we're kind of taking our last look. Oh, more of those interesting little circular
And
yellow circular
rockfish.
things. A couple of really big rockfish. There we go. Another large anemone, and yeah, these rockfish, really distinct red and white banding on the one to the right.
It's kind of an interesting, I don't know, brecciated look. In fact, those are, I guess, loose boulders mantled with mud. This is another place where we might expect a lot of shaking. In fact, I think we're pretty much directly over the 1964 Alaska earthquake epicenter.
Oh, right here.
Right here.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we're kind of over on the side of it. Most of the rupture patch is to the west, but I believe the epicenter, which is where it started, is located. So I think that's about it for our dive today. Short but sweet.
Yeah, definitely the
Do we want to get another Niskin here before we head up, or is the one we just got good enough for now?
it's pretty turbid right here. Why don't we wait?
Already?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, can't wait for very long. There's not a lot of water column.
Right. Yeah.
Definitely want to thank the GFOE ROV team, especially for pushing through a lot of difficulties today. We really appreciated the bottom time we were able to get, and I think we saw some really cool things while we were down there. And thanks to the video team as well for capturing it so nicely.
And even a short dive like this has a quite a bit of value. You know, you can do side scan surveys and get a sense of where the hard bottom is, but just to get all that calibrated, you do need ground truthing, and if nothing else, we got a little bit of ground truthing on. It's hard to say if anybody would have looked at this little rise we came up. We barely came up more than 20 or 30 meters, whether anyone would have bothered to call that rock or not. And you know, from that would derive the habitat maps. So there's a little bit of ground truth where they can calibrate what they'd be looking at. So
Yeah, I'm happy I saw a huge sea pen, the kind a species I've never seen before, and quite a few cup corals, which was surprising.
Yeah, I was just impressed with the way that if there was anything close to a rock nearby, there were things glued all over it.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much every part of it. Also, definitely would like to thank the scientists, our shore-based scientists that tuned in via Science Chat today. Thanks for joining us. We always appreciate your identifications and observations. Your so thanks to you all for joining us. Also, thanks to the folks in the lab, everyone working on board here to get those samples sorted. You know, smaller batch today, but there should be lots to look at in that one suction sample, actually. Right. And to NOAA Ocean Exploration and the Okeanos Explorer for putting this all together and providing this survey and this platform.
And thanks to the video team for, again, some incredible views and zooms.
And just for the record, I have an ID from Chris Rupert. That's the red banded rockfish that we saw at the end, and pretty large ones too. So a lot of things are at play for our dive tomorrow, so I don't think that that's something that we can comment on at the moment. Stay tuned to our email updates for an idea on, we'll have to assess the weather situation and see what we can get done tomorrow for our dive. So thanks for watching.
Pilot's watch. Could we get a Niskin at, let's say, 165 meters? Copy. Niskin sample ID EX2306-D17-04W in bottle 3. All right, thanks everybody. Yeah, I really appreciate that, you guys. That was a tough one to get to, but we made it.